The same individuals who had previously written off your intuitive hits as fortunate guesses were now actively working to lessen your visibility. Chosen ones. Their fright, barely concealed by phony grins and excessively polite communications. You just put it in writing without arguing or attempting to persuade anybody. The events of next week are planned out in advance, as plain as a roadmap and as definite as the sunrise. Without doubt or second-guessing, simply a deep-seated, silent certainty that defies explanation or reasoning. They watch you do it too. They first write it off as a coincidence, a fortunate guess, or a probability trick. However, as the week progresses, every little detail, change, and twist happens just as you described. Not a single item is out of place. What was written on the paper was a mirror reflecting an unrealized future, not conjecture. Their eyes follow your handwriting as they read it over and over again, looking for any errors or gaps. They are deeply shaken by the fact that you disproved them without doing anything. They jeered when you spoke at the meeting. Your perspective was keen, and your voice steady. You saw their flawless plans flaw, the collapse, before it even began. You gave them a straightforward, unflinching warning, not out of vanity or a desire for power. But your honesty was not what they wanted. Their palms waved you away as they looked at each other, smirks concealed under coffee mugs. They wanted you to be incorrect because, if you were right, it meant something else, something scary. That's not how this works. We've done this before. We know better. But as the days went by, the parts fell apart one by one. The transaction fell through, the wrong hire made the wrong decision, and your casual, uncomplicated forecast turned into reality. Skepticism gave way to quiet, and inside that silence, terror emerged. They are unsure of how to handle you. You just perceive them. You're not noisy or try to impose your perspective on them. And they are unable to comprehend it. They are used to managing perception, information, and results. However, how can you manage what you don't comprehend? When someone doesn't need words to make a point, how do you quiet them? Like kids trapped in a game they didn't know they were playing. They feel vulnerable. What's the worst? You weren't even playing. They need everything to obey the principles they comprehend, make logic, and fit into a box. They believe they knew everything, but you are the exception. They strive to understand you and try to justify you, but they are unable to do so, because they cannot calculate, anticipate, or control what you do, and it is not something that is mentioned in their textbooks. You can see right through them, the pause before lying, the grin that falls short of their eyes, the little change in tone when their intentions alter. You know before they do anything. That scares them because they can't manipulate you if they can't trick you. They put you to the test. Little things at first like deliberate omissions, half-truths, and white falsehoods, to see if you'll notice. You always do too. You don't even have to speak. It's in the way you linger with your eyes and the way you hesitate for too long. Even before you open your lips, they feel vulnerable. They change, adapt, and try again. Perhaps it was just luck. Perhaps you heard something. Perhaps they were too visible. However, it keeps happening until they are unable to ignore it any longer. They used to make fun of you, ignore you, and come up with excuses to justify you. They now choose their words wisely. Since they don't know how you do it, they now pause before speaking, and people are afraid of things they don't comprehend. You bring people discomfort because you are beyond of their control, not because of anything you have done to them. When you're not there, they whisper. They don't realize that you don't need someone to tell you. How did they know? There's no way they figured that out. Did someone tell them? The words don't change until the energy does. Before they attempt to hide the truth, you sense it. They are more afraid of it than the actual truth. They believe that by moving plans, timetables, and discussions just out of your grasp, They are being subtle. Meetings are abruptly rescheduled, relocated, or emailed to you without warning. You still know, however, somehow. You raise the precise problem they believed you would miss. Before they even make the announcement, you discuss the choice. They are uneasy because you move like someone who has previously been informed. Since knowledge is power in their world, they cannot control you if they do not control how you get it. You first dismiss it. The snatched looks, the whispered discussions that end abruptly as you go by, the unexpected curiosity in your strategies. Then it gets out of hand. You can see how they stay after meetings, observing your movements, and how your eyes narrow when you talk. Not because they're paying attention, but rather because they're observing you. They want to know how you know it, not simply what you know. This is the reason it doesn't make sense. You shouldn't have such easy access to their weaknesses. It shouldn't be possible for you to foresee their next move before they do it. Speaking as if you were in the room where you were shut out shouldn't be possible. However, you do, and their paranoia increases as it occurs more often. They begin to turn against one another. They narrow their circles, question discussions, and keep a closer eye on their own squad. It can't be you. That would be impossible. There must be an informant, a traitor, someone feeding you information behind the scenes. However, because you never needed an informant, it makes no difference. You navigate the pandemonium unharmed, unconcerned, and unmoved. They are rushing to stop the imaginary leaks. They doubt allegiances that have never been betrayed. You sit quietly and watch them fall apart the whole time. Because the fact is straightforward. You already know what they are talking about. You don't need access to it. You don't have to make accusations. Suddenly, the loudest talkers are at a loss for words. Once natural, their confidence now seems forced. They look at you and then away, shifting, evading, and squirming. It's what people feel when you're close, not what you say, because they feel the full weight of their remorse when they are with you. Their sentences are calculated, their smiles practiced, and their voices calm. However, the body shows what the lips refuses to acknowledge: the faint clearing of the throat, the twitching hands, the flitting eyes, the abrupt annoyance, as if your presence alone disturbs their comfort. They persuade themselves that you are the issue, that you are observing them too intently, and that you are too knowledgeable. However, you remain silent. It was they who sacrificed themselves. As stated clearly in Hebrews 4:13, nothing in all creation is hidden from God's sight. Everything is uncovered and laid bare. They feel the same way about you, exposed. All of their well-crafted falsehoods, covert betrayals, and unsaid transgressions are abruptly revealed. They already know what they've done in their hearts, not because you accuse them. You are evidence that they will never get away with it. You can confirm by typing 1111 in the comments. They believe you are speculating, but they are mistaken. They don't know you're reading them in real time, so they consider you fortunate. They take your brilliance for something otherworldly, yet it's only heightened awareness. Spells and visions are not necessary. Your mind is a precision-engineered mechanism. It detects the subtleties they overlook, the ones they believe no one is aware of. They also don't know how you do it, because they can't see the unseen process going on in your head when you call something out before it occurs. The faint lift of the voice at the conclusion of a statement, the tightness of a jaw, the tiny pause before answering, the twitch of the mouth, lie, hesitation, secret meaning. Your brain performs the arithmetic before you even know it's doing it, so you don't need to worry about it. You see trends, recurring actions, contradictions, the way they shift their position when concealing something, or the way they laugh excessively when attempting to hide pain. You see these things that most people don't. They are unable to deceive you because of this. They attempt to explain it. When you make a mistake, they begin to study you as intently as you watch them, hoping to figure out the trick or the strategy. There must be an explanation. However, you never do. Because this is just the way your brain works. It's not a gimmick. According to studies, those who have heightened intuition, without even understanding how, make judgments more quickly and correctly than others. It's a skill that's always working, digesting, and staying one step ahead. It's neither magic nor guesswork. And it is too much for them to bear. Since they won't feel threatened if it's simply luck, they want to believe in it. However, luck failed to foresee their next move before they took it. Before they stated their falsehoods, luck failed to see through them. Before they even realized what they were about to do, luck failed to see the change in their energies. You were that person. And what frightens them the most? It's not even necessary to attempt. Look at your life now, look at ours. Look back at your life now, look back at ours. Hello, chosen one. You could be in the obsidian inner order, but unfortunately you're not. Imagine weekly group calls with over 450 selected individuals that are recorded and accessible at any time for your education. Not only is our private Discord operational, but it's alive and humming with innovations, ideas, and that unstoppable chosen energy. And welcome to Chosen Singles, where soulmates connect based on cosmic alignments rather than cheesy pickup lines. For all of you romantics out there. In addition to our video specials that are too daring, too unvarnished, and too spicy for YouTube, Star Chamber members get access to private interviews with real live people who have endured the most trying times and persevered to share their stories. This is a revolution of spirit and soul, not simply a community. Go back to me and check your direct messages. The description contains the link to join. Claim destiny instead of merely swiping right on it. Living like a chosen one, feeling like magic, and smelling like ascension are all characteristics of the obsidian inner order. They are at a loss on what to do. Their attempt to ignore you was unsuccessful. They tried acting as if you don't matter, but that didn't work either. Because you are untouchable and people dread what they cannot control, they have now resorted to desperation. You can see right through them, therefore, they can't control you. You can see their falsehoods before they are said, therefore, they can't fool you. Destroying your credibility is now your only choice, because they will attempt to make others question you if they are unable to make you doubt yourself. In rooms you have never entered, they murmur your name. They portray you as a manipulator, a liar, and someone who distorts the truth rather than seeing it for what it is. They're just making things up. They think they're special, but they're delusional. They always act like they know everything. Who do they think they are? The phrases spread like wildfire. Cowards never engage in open combat. Instead, they strike in the shadows. None of it sticks, however, because those who have seen you in action are aware of the reality. You just exist, and that is plenty. You have never had to prove yourself. They thus intensify when the rumors stop, when people still approach you, and when your presence keeps upsetting their foundations. They will attempt to eliminate you completely if they are unable to cast suspicion on you. Plans change behind your back. Meetings take place without you, doors silently shut, invites cease, and talks halt as soon as you walk into the room. They want you to vanish so that you would lose your strength and have nowhere to stand. However, they are unaware that you do not need their areas. You were never reliant on their affirmation, their approval, or their alleged acceptance. Even when they cut you off from their social groups, your impact just increases. In any case, the ones who are important find you. Your message doesn't need a listener to be heard. They get desperate as a result when this also fails. At this point, people show their true selves. Type Amen to embrace the angel's blessings. Show your support by giving super thanks up to $20. They resort to something deeper when gossip fails, when seclusion backfires, and when every attempt to undermine you just makes you stronger. They emit energy tinged with jealousy, animosity, and malice, and they mutter obscenities. They plan sabotage and use every means necessary to undermine your morale. You notice, even if they don't believe you do, even before the change occurs, you can sense it. The strain in the air, the weight on your energy field, and the unusual tiredness. They believe they can silently assault you. They are unaware that you have always had protection. Everything they transmit bounces back. They return to themselves with the darkness they emit, because the power they battle for isn't and never was yours alone. They now realize they are unable to stop you. They were never able to. They believed the illusion they had created would last. The carefully prepared rumors, the whispered falsehoods, and the slightly warped tales that cast doubt on you. It was intended to be impenetrable, unassailable, and a solid enough framework to ensure that no one would ever listen to you again. However, lies have weight, and they collapse when you pile too many of them on top of one another. The first things that catch your attention are the little things, like the way they hesitate before responding, the subtle adjustments, and the uncomfortable situations when two different versions of their reality meet. The fissures appear. Wait, I thought you said no. That's not what I meant. It becomes worse the more they attempt to solve it. Because the truth never needs maintenance, but falsehoods do. Just observe. You don't even need to speak. It began as a game, a scheme to defeat you. They no longer have faith in one another. They begin questioning themselves in the same manner that they questioned you. The murmurs get fewer, and the relationships wane. What if they're the one who makes a mistake? What if they reveal the lie to protect themselves? What if they turn against me first? The people who used to make fun of you are now sitting quietly, wondering who would betray them first. Since none of them wants to be buried by the weight of falsehoods, they have seen what happens when they fall apart. Their reality is reflected in the saying that states, "A liar will not be believed even when he speaks the truth." They attempted to undermine your voice, quiet you, and ensure that no one heard you. They still discovered you, however, because they had eyes to see. They don't have the same resistance, anxiety, or intense demand for control. The previous norms do not confine them. They can see through the smokescreens, the falsehoods, and the murmurs that are intended to dissuade them. And they approach you out of interest rather than fear, because they find something to learn from where others saw something to destroy. When you talk, they pay attention, not skeptically, but intently. The things that made the elder ones uneasy don't make them wince. They lean toward the truth rather than avoiding it. They are aware of your powers and don't fear them. How do you see what you see? How do you know before it happens? What else are they trying to hide from us? Additionally, the old guard loses power the more they learn from you. You were intended to be heard, never to be silenced. What was genuine and what wasn't used to be decided by them. It wasn't legitimate if they didn't comprehend it. It didn't exist if it didn't suit their conception of reality. They also got away with it for a time. They talked confidently, dominated the conversation, rejected anything they couldn't explain, and assumed that everyone else would do the same. However, you later disproved them. Because people are seeing you, their authority is eroding, and their influence is diminishing. Once, the murmurs were sufficient. They might use a sly smile, a joke, or a well-put untruth to discredit you. However, too many people have already seen it. Oh, they're just guessing. That's just coincidence. It's all in their head. Too many people have seen your forecast come true. Your observations are very accurate. They have no response to the question that too many people have asked. If you were wrong, why do you keep being right? You keep going, unmoved, while their hold on authority erodes. You don't quarrel or struggle for dominance. Like sand, sliding through their fingers, they struggle to hang on. Yet the stronger they grasp, the quicker it crumbles. Furthermore, they are unable to stop it. To share the love of the angels, write Amen, and contribute up to $20 with a super thank you. They believed they had triumphed. They twisted tales to bury you, spoke your name with poison, persuaded others to turn against you, and convinced themselves that you would fail. However, they never realized who they were up against, because every action they took against you improved you rather than making you weaker. They believed that what they were saying would go on like wildfire, destroying all you had worked so hard to build and devouring your reputation. Rather, the flames turned against them. They are now seen through by those who formerly trusted them. The people being questioned are the ones who started the rumors. Their own trap is the web of deceit they created. You didn't do anything. They attempted to keep you out. But at that time, you developed your discernment, strengthened your intuition, and became deadly. You were only strengthened by the isolation they imposed on you. You are now untouchable as you return to the world. Everything bounces back, including the energy, the manipulation, the curses, and the jealousy. They feel the strain of their own assaults and the weight of their own goals. The identical devastation they wanted upon you is what they endure. You leave unharmed. You didn't have to seek retribution. They will constantly fall under the weight of their own deeds. They believed that their plots would never be discovered, that they were untouchable, and that their falsehoods would never be discovered. But justice is irrepressible and doesn't ask for permission. They are experiencing the repercussions of their actions. What you sow, you will reap, as stated explicitly in Galatians 6:7. They are drowning in their own falsehoods because they sown deceit. Nobody trusts them anymore because they made others mistrust them. They used lies to gain power, and now their foundation is collapsing. The truth comes to them one by one. They turn against the individuals they have deceived. The allies they depended upon disappear. They are fighting to preserve a reputation that is rotting from the inside out. They ruin themselves, so you never had to hit. You rise, while others fall, because justice is always served by time, and truth doesn't need to fight. You never required their confirmation, and you never battled for their acceptance. You remained unfazed, unmoved, and unconcerned, despite their constant efforts to destroy you via slander, conspiracy, and hard labor. The truth did what it usually does. It came to the top, stood by itself, and revealed all of the lies without your help. Some people will come to regret their silent actions. They will recall the uncertainty, the derision, and the opposition. And it will be too late for them to understand that you were never the idiot. The others? The consequences of their own acts will cause them to vanish. It wasn't necessary for you to play their games. You did not dispute, clarify, or plead for comprehension. They were destroyed just by your presence. Your quiet was strength, not surrender. As you go on, unfazed, they now sit in the wreckage of their own creation. Allow them to tumble, speak, and scurry. You have nothing to prove. You didn't. Have you had this experience? What happened to you? Post your narrative in the comments section. Your truth is worthy of being heard.